You are my ecstasy. When you are next to me, flooding my dopamine. Stay here right next to me. Oh, you make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. You are my You are my You make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. Every time you leave, I come down. So girl, you know that I need you around. You are my You are my You are my
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting on us, but we are getting right back into the actions here with the IGL Divisions, our second series for the night. If you missed the first one, it was a great game. You should go check it out in the VODs, but we have an even better game coming up here. It is going to be Tone Gaming versus Sloppy. If you're just now joining us, my name is Soren, and joining me as my co-caster is Zach. How you feeling?
After that first game that we saw. It was a banger of a game. And I believe that the final map was 13-2, which is a dominant performance if I've ever seen one. So after that, I feel like both these teams have a lot to live up to. But I really hope that they have what it takes because I am super psyched for this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not quite sure about Sloppy. I don't think I've ever seen them before, but Tone Gaming I am actually pretty well familiar with. They've competed in a few of the competitions and tournaments here on IGL, so I know they are a very good team. So I'm also really looking forward to them. And much like before, we have the same three maps that we are looking to play today. So we're starting off on Icebox, moving over to Fracture for map number 2. And then we're going to be going over to Pearl if there is a tiebreaker decided. And I know we already talked about it, but any expectations out of Icebox? Anything that you're maybe hoping to see, maybe differently from what we saw in, the first map of the day?
I mean, there's hope and then there's realism. Hopefully, I would love to see a harbor on this map because I think in some of the BCL, EMEA circuits and the APAC ones, we have seen a couple of games with harbor. But seeing it in NA, I think that would be something I'm really excited for. I know it's super unlikely and Viper is like the meta comp, but that's what I would like to see. That's, I don't know, maybe it's a difference in the duelist. I know that some players like to run the Rays instead. So anyway, we're gonna be heading into agent select. Let's see if we're gonna have any changes. And already, just like he wants to disprove me, Lost is like, you know what? Get lost, caster. I'm gonna go for my girl jet, and it's the locks that. Apart from that, like we talked about, Sword, it's gonna be the Killjoy Viper Sage. Not much change, not many changes there. And I would bet a lot of money that it's going to be Brody or the Silva.
Yeah, there you go. The Sova is immediately gonna picked up after you said that. I do like that composition. I would actually say that's probably for Tone Gaming, that's probably like the ideal composition. Like if you were wanted like a perfectly meta composition for Icebox that kind of hits all the bases. I think Tone has it. I really do like KJ. We didn't really see much of KJ on the first map of Icebox that we saw earlier today. We're seeing that Sage that I said was oh so crucial, and it looks like both teams might be picking her up as well. So nothing too crazy. I am liking the Reyna hover though over on the side of Sloppy. I do like Reyna. I know people were running her even before the big changes to duelists and the buff that she got a few patches
Mhm.
ago. But ever since those buffs, especially with the flashes, Reyna has just become so self-sufficient. Has been really, really strong. So I'm really happy to see her get picked up because she can cause some devastation on this map.
Yeah, right now I feel like the only problem is that when it comes to like a team-based synergy, it's really hard for her to pop off. You need like a lot of perfectly supportive activity, which I feel like Sloppy is capable of giving with that Demolini shooter comp. You do see that KO as well as that Sova coming in. We saw how valuable KO could be during our first series when I think that both teams did go for that KO, opted for it. And um I like this comp coming in from the defenders. It's just that they're gonna have to be really careful because they don't have like a dedicated sentinel like Cypher, Killjoy, or Chamber to try and lock down a particular area of the map. Like Sage, on this map, I feel like you want to play her as your second entry. You want to like try and play her with the rest of the team. And she doesn't really have that anchoring potential that comes with like a Cypher or Killjoy. So that might be a little bit of a challenge. But hey, I've seen a lot of teams get away without running a Killjoy or Cypher. And I think that if they play their cards right, these guys could be some of them. But talking about the attackers here, like heading into the round, they are going for a little bit of a default. You do see one waiting towards mid, one towards B, and of course three towards main, where A main, where it seems like they do want to go already. You can see Zest as well as Brody getting ready with those lineups. So let's see how this round goes.
Do a little bit of aim training there. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how these teams are going to play because, like we saw in the last series, some teams just like to absolutely bolt down A, and it does look like the defense is actually going to push it pretty aggressively over towards mid and towards B long, take a lot of space. Meanwhile, this A defensive hold is actually pretty well drilled and is sitting patiently, but they are going to be caught off guard. Lost finds that opening kill, and IGLeague is able to pick up at least one in the trade, but it is going to be a 1-for-2. That is some significant damage, though, over to the Killjoy and the Jet, as well as the Sova taking a bit of damage from the Viper smoke as well. So no one really looking all too well on the attacking side, but they have the spike down and post plant setups are available.
Both sides do go in for that solar reclaim, but the wall has still been saved by the defender, so there's been just going to be able to sink that defuse, especially since it seems like the Killjoy volleys haven't really been invested. It is going to be Engram getting one before being shut down, but that Sage wall came in so clutch there. That's just a free defuse for the defenders. And like you mentioned, I like that you brought up the damage the Reyna had bought. You know, on this pistol run, usually you do see Reyna's opting to go in for that Frenzy or a Ghost on Icebox. If you look at like the statistics for pistol buys on Icebox, and yes, I actually did have to write an article about that at some point, but Reyna's usually like to go in for those guns, but going for a Sheriff, just a devastating amount of damage being dealt, getting that kill, and of course the fact that the kill that was gotten was the Sage, that is just your heals out of the way, no more wall available. Very, very crucial kill that the Reyna got for that team, so I think that's something to definitely watch out for. But heading into round two, there's not going to be no force buy, despite the plant coming through. They're going to be opting to go for a full save instead. The attackers, again, like you mentioned, eager to get aggressive here, willing to go out for a pick, and now they get spotted, so they know that there are two players pushing down B main.
Yeah, a little bit of a duel for that ultimate orb. That's going to be a lot of damage that gets traded out, but no kills yet. And it seems like both teams are very patiently waiting. Over on A, though, the Reyna does get the kill with the Marshall. Really, the only other main weapon other than the Bulldog and some Spectres. But it doesn't really matter. The attack just getting mowed down as Lost actually the only one to invest anything with a Sheriff in hand. And now the last two split between mid and B long. Lost is actually able to cause a little bit of damage, remove, I believe, the rifle from the equation, at least for the time being. Though that does leave them with only 13 health remaining. So it's a little bit of a sketchy situation, but at this point, if they could just do a little bit of damage, maybe remove one more weapon from the defense's hands, I think this would be a pretty good round for them.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, I concur with you there. I like that they were able to get that particular kill. Tries to go in for the repeat, but it's going to be E-Girl who gets that kill. It's all down to just Zest here. A 1v4 situation. Does hear the Viper jumping around, perhaps opting to go in for the right click, but the Spectre in that close range just melts that player down, and that's going to be an almost flawless round. I think that the Bulldog got retrieved as well by Arsonist there, so that's definitely going to be a W. Right now, though, it is going to be the full buy round for the attackers here. No ultimates really available for either team, with the exception of that Empress on Slapbank, which could pretty much be huge here, considering that they have picked up that upgrade in this particular round. They're gonna be full buying in. What bonus? Asks Serena, and we'll see if that
Yeah.
bears any fruit in this particular round.
I mean, yeah, getting 4 kills in the first 2 rounds is kind of huge, especially on that Reyna, because the Empress, Reyna is a very feast or famine agent in general, but if you have good aim, and I mean, I think they pulled a triple in that last round with the Marshall. If you can get a good few kills normally, getting that Empress online so early can be a massive difference in these, bonus and anti-eco rounds. So I would not be surprised if they are able to convert this, though it is going to be a little bit difficult for them. It looks like it's going to be a massive push down A, though, but not a very quick one. Both sides trading out a lot of utility. The Viper wall making it a little bit difficult for them to push in, but right now, it just seems like a very tedious push through, checking all the corners, and it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade overall. 3v3 left standing as the attackers make their way on the site. Brisk tries to pop flash out, can't quite find it, only a Spectre in hand. They do still have a Bulldog on hand as well. That's going to suppress all 3, but that's going to be a trade 1-for-1.
Yeah,
Zest is able to win it.
Yeah, I like what you said about the Reyna being feast or famine, because like you mentioned, it's a very aim-based player. There's not much utility that you can really use for your team. Like the other duelists, if you consider them, Jet creates space. She has that dash race, has the satchels. Neon has just that speed, that raw speed and aggression that you can really expect to play her with. Phoenix, of course, does come with flashes as well. But when it comes to Reyna, I just feel like her flashes, the fact that they're breakable and the fact that her utility is only really useful if you get a kill makes her like really, really difficult to run in a professional setting. The fact that the Reyna on this team is able to find some damage is incredible. And also, despite the defense losing that round, they were able to take 3 rifles offline for the attack. So that's going to put their eco in a little bit of a difficult situation here. Lost already, though, started things off the banger, finding 2 kills right off the bat.
There we go. A little bit of a slow start for them to put a rifle in their hand, and apparently they can start doing some serious damage. Old Brisk tries to get a fadeaway shot, just not able to. And this is looking like it's going to be a very quick round.
Yeah, it's just Stras left now. A 1v5 situation. Tries to go for the peak, but Brody is more than ready for it and then connects a flawless headshot. It seems like this A push for the side of the attackers is a very, very well-versed, very patient strat. They know exactly what they're doing. Go for the recon up close. Go for the drone after that once they get control close to pipes. And once they methodically cleared out every corner, just push in like a tidal wave and sweep the defense off the site. That's going to reset the economy for the defense completely. Slappy right now only being able to afford a Marshall and a Stinger of all things, shares across the board for the rest of the players. And this is a round that, if they don't mess up the attack, could easily convert.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen that, the Reyna could do some serious damage with that Marshall. If they can find a few good shots, maybe bring it to a 4v5 early here, maybe pick one of those rifles up, it could easily swing back into their favor, but they're going to be at a severe disadvantage in doing so. And I think the attack is actually expecting a little bit of aggression from the defense, seeing as this is very much going to be an eco round for them, but they're not going to find it. They're all just going to sit and try to maybe take even a little bit ratty angles in some areas to see if maybe they can find an opening pick, though Engram immediately removing the threat down B long, and that actually opens up B pretty much entirely. The only real presence there is the player in mid, but it looks like both teams are going to favor a push towards A. But Soberdrone might have just spotted a little bit of a rotation there.
Yeah, rotation is the right word. They're going to be going towards mid instead. Sway's able to connect a perfect shot onto the Viper. The trade is quick from Arsonist. Things back down to a 4v5. Make that a 2v4 right now, as Engram on the lurk is able to find when the trade is quick, though, and that's going to be a Vandal that's dropped an upgrade that could be picked up. This is still winnable right now for the defenders here. With 21 seconds left on the clock, the spike will go down on the B side. It's going to be 2 rifles that are going to be able to pick up, and there's no flank watching either. So right now, it's all going to fall into the shoulders of Lost to prevent this lure from coming through. The flash is not just hits, but Swayze is still able to like swing past it and get those 2 kills. Really, really good plays coming in from the attackers here. But you know, kudos to Team Sloppy, because despite them being at a huge economic disadvantage, they still managed to find 3 kills on the round.
Yeah, absolutely. However, you know, Tone Gaming is firmly starting to get a foothold despite having a little bit of a rough start in those first 2 rounds, as their economy is now the best way I could describe it is from DuckTales, where the older duck is swimming through gold. As I think the lowest amount they have in the bank after a full buy is 2,000 credits. So all of them doing quite well for themselves. They're setting themselves up to have a really, really good mid game in this half. And it looks like they're just keeping their go-to strategy of playing this very default setup, this little very slow push in through one of the sites with the KJ on the lurk, taking a one-on-one duel over towards B main. Haven't really seen them take B yet, besides, you know, last round where it was a little bit of a last-minute rotation. So interested to see what happens when they do try to switch up the sites. Engram there, very close to losing their life just through the weakness of the snake bite, but Slickies is just going to pull back away, and it looks like they might be making their way over to B, but there's actually 2 defenders there. So this one might not be as easy of a take as they think it will be.
Ooh, that's a great kill coming in from Zesto, taking the Viper offline. It's going to make things, make the retake really difficult right now. Has the Viper's pit as well, and will be able to put it down and get the spike along with it. Brasto makes it go 1-for-1 right now. The up just Fury 4, the defense will come through, trying to take down these players. Not quite connecting though, does do a bit of damage to the Viper. In fact, will get the kills. That's going to be the Viper's pit down. Again, that stage wall coming through, trying to get that diffuse, trying to make it work. The Nanoswarm still making their job much more difficult. However, the killjoy is super low here, so this is definitely a winnable round. Unless, of course, Engram is done. Maybe he gets a collide out of his hand. It's all done, just Arsonist, the Sova player here. Killjoy is low, connects the headshot. 1v1, Sova versus Sova. The clock is ticking, and the spike, it still has to be diffused. All this time, it is going to be the Sova on the enemy team just holding. Arsonist doesn't know where this player is, and he's not peeking either, so it's going to make his job almost impossible here. The time is almost up. He has to get half, knows his position, tries to inspect his gun, but Brody, having played that to perfection, will get round number 4 for the side of Tone Nation, and they have really extended their lead. Their economy is looking healthy, and they only invested 1 major ultimate. They have 4 left in this particular round, Soren. That is huge.
Yeah, no, very, very clinical coming out from Tone, as they seem to just have a really, really good hold on how they want to play this map, and it's very, very clean so far. But it does look like we're going to be seeing a force buy coming out from the defenders of Sloppy. Looks like we're going to see the judge make an appearance yet again, maybe get a little bit more value than last time. But we are actually going to see that Viper's Pit going to be immediately invested as a deterrent over on A, you know, with a pairing of that judge making it very difficult for them to push through. And that's actually going to force Tone to reevaluate their situation, as it looks like they might just make a full switch over to B. All the players that were going towards A are very quickly making their way over towards B. Walls going down, and it looks like they might just explode on the site here.
Yeah, the only barrier standing in their way is going to be the Reyna. Knows that there are multiple players towards mid, gets the first kill, gets the heal, but has a lot of work to do ahead as he gets converged on by the entire attacking, and Lost will be able to get that kill. 3 players left right now for the defenders. I think that they do have a resurrection available, but unfortunately for them, all the bodies are going to be dropped in super awkward areas. They're going to have to clear so much area, but Slickies is going to get a great start to that with that kill onto Lost. All 3 players right now playing for the full spawn, with the exception of the Viper, who's still holding strong on site. The flank though is there from Arsonist, all that Sova takes out the killjoy. That's going to take out the Nanoswarm post-plant availability, and as the clock goes forward, these 2 defenders, they have some cleanup work to do. Arsonist able to catch the find the timing onto Brody there. It's all down to just Dras. Has that resurrection available, does manage to get it off successfully, and uses that to be able to connect the headshot. That's going to be the defuse successfully coming through, and just like that, it's going to be the defenders making their way back towards an equalizer here, 3-4.
That's actually really big for them. Despite having to use the res, I mean, it's still really good seeing as their economy is really not in the best state. They were able to bring 2 rifles into this round when none of their teammates are going to be able to full buy out. They're all going to have to resort to either full shields and a bulldog or light shields and a vandal. So while it's not ideal, using that res when you don't really need it, it's going to help the economy quite a bit, which should help them because if they could pull this one back, which they kind of have to get some foothold back into the game, they'll be in a pretty good spot. However, Tone's still in a pretty commanding lead. Multiple thousand left in the bank for both of them, and Lost is actually not going to spot the one in Nest, but it doesn't matter. Swayze helping their teammate out does secure the kill in Nest. Prevents them from losing that Blade Storm really early into the round, and it looks like it's a pretty aggressive push up through A. Not really finding anything though, just poking, prodding, seeing if maybe they can find yet another kill. But Slickies is able to mow down Zest, and removing that Sage so early into this round before they're able to really get anything on site is going to make holding a spike very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's always difficult to get that plant down without that wall. However, though, Engram on the lurk
rat.
might be able to find incredible value. Rat indeed. It remains to be seen, though, how much this rat can pull off. Know that there's at least 2 players towards this A side with information from his teammates. He's aware of the possibility that he might get checked, though. Engram has to play super carefully. But Brisk is more than ready for that player. It's 2 in fact, as Lost tries to go in for the sway. Not quite connecting, though. Gets the upgrade as well. And it's all down to just Brody yet again. A 1v4, make that a 1v3 as he gets that first kill. Tries to go in for the refrag, does get that hit, and it's going to be a 1v2. Very doable considering how low Slickies is. But, Slickies isn't taking the bait. Knows the position of both the players, it seems like, and now they're going to be going in for the swing. 14 seconds left. He has to get the spike down. He will hear the Sage coming up right now, and it's going to be a game played to perfection here. Brody almost getting the 1v4, but the Reyna will get that round, and now we're at 4-4. Both teams have shown that they definitely have the capability, not just mentally but also aim-wise, to hold their own against each other. But I'm very surprised that Engram didn't use that lockdown in that run, because he's had it for like 2 rounds now. He's just been chilling with it.
Yeah, has just kind of been holding on to it. Probably wouldn't be using that, especially because Killjoy does have, I believe, the ultimate's now up to an 8 charge for an ultimate orb count, which means it's quite expensive, which means you want to be building that up as often as possible. So maybe a little bit of a waste not to be using it. But at the end of the day, they still are able to pull up a few rounds. So don't think it's the end of the world, though they are kind of being collapsed in on mid as we switch over and see them just being surrounded by enemy utility, trapped in the corner. Meanwhile, the team yet again just kind of making very slow progress into A. 2 defenders, the only ones there. That actually is still an Empress on hand. However, it is over towards B, and Engram again, rat in the walls, slowly making their way up through kitchen. Team very slowly. It's like an all-out war here as Utility just keeps pushing both the defense and the attackers inches back every time they try to make progress into the site. Oh, they're not going to expect this.
Exactly, and Ram made his way all the way around, spots the stage, gets that first kill, gets a second as well. In the meantime, Brody sneaks his way onto site, and it's all done. Just the Reyna has a lot of work to do, has to clear all the way through the spawn into the site here. 1v4 situation. Does know that Engram was around the vicinity somewhere, does spot him out, but again, Engram, he's going to be just playing the Jiggle P game, not quite letting the Reyna get the kill. As I say that, though, it's going to be her getting that perfect headshot, popping the Empress as well, feeling confident in their ability to perhaps clutch this out right now in a 1v3. And honestly, Reyna, they could do that if there wasn't a clean double peek coming out. Both Brody and Lost aware of the potential that you really do not want to face in Reyna on the Empress 1-1 and keep feeding her that sweet heal on that ult. But yeah, they play that to perfection, and now again they take the lead here. The economy for both the teams, it's not looking too great right now, in all honesty, for the side of the defenders here. Slappy will have to go into another eco. Not really they can really buy, apart from like some stingers, maybe like sheriffs. You do see a sheriff coming through, an arsonist, of course. Sticky does love that Marshall. As for the attackers, though, they still have 3 ults on. I didn't use any ults and they still won the round, so kudos to them.
Yeah, Engram again still holding on to this ultimate. Oh, Engram, yet again, getting another kill, making me cringe a little bit more and more, as they could have probably at least gotten another lockdown in the time that they've had it, but that's besides the point.
All good.
They're at least putting a lot of pressure over towards this B main area. So silence makes that Silver Drone just go away immediately as well. Swayze down mid is able to find another kill on this attacking side. Eco round is looking a little bit dead in the water from the onset, as immediately two of their main retaking agents fall. Viper wall goes down as they make their way on the site, and I don't think there's really anything the defense can do to try to deny this, and I don't think they have the utility on hand to try to retake this either.
Yeah, they don't have the utility, they don't have the guns, they don't have the numbers, and it's just looking like another round in the pockets of Tone Nation here. Drast does have that wall, but that's like the only piece of utility that could really come in useful here, especially considering that both the Killjoy as well as the Viper are still alive. That 0 point towards yellow, not quite gonna give away much information here, with the exception of Lost being there, but again, Lost is aware of it, will be wrapping around to try and bait for the rest of his teammates, and off the back of that, Zest will get 2 kills for themselves. That's gonna be a great round, again, coming in for the side of Tone Nation, though this time around, there's at least a Hunter's Fury and the Null Command available for denying their plans and for going for that retake. So this is something that I do have my eyes on, though. To be fair, Brisk has had that Null Command for a while. He just has the opportunity to really use it, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but Tone pretty much in a commanding lead here, though I keep saying that it's still only 4-6. Despite having a pretty hard economic disadvantage for pretty much the entirety of this half, they still have kept it pretty close, and if they're able to secure this, they'll be in a pretty good spot to bring this 6-6, but even still, bringing 8-4 after at times a very iffy half is still pretty solid. Engram, again on that B alert. Not going to find anyone. Meanwhile, again, this attacking team really favoring this attack side, but it's been really efficient so far. It looks like they might be changing over to a B hit, or possibly a push through mid here.
Yeah, Engram has made his way all the way through mid, then back to spawn, and then to the B side over. But it seems like it's going to be the Reyna watching the right ankle. Unfortunately, though, Engram was more than ready for it. Almost a pre-fire coming in from this particular player, and now they make their way over towards the CT here. Arsonist does hear the sound cue, I believe, so that might be something to watch out for. Has the Hunter's Fury, but not in a position to really use it through the spray, though. Will be able to get that first kill as well, so that's pretty huge right now. A 4v4 retake. Both, I think that they do have the lockdown on Engram, but unfortunately Brisk is aware of the possibility they will be able to get that kill, and in the meantime Swayze will be able to get that second as well for the attackers here. And just for being committed right now, will take down Lost yet again, and now it's just going to be the last 2 players remaining, both the Sova and the Sage, doing their best to try and clutch this out. It's all down to just Brody. A 1v2, has the Hunter's Fury, just connect the shot onto the first player. Not quite able to get the second though. Not quite having the HP either, and half the spike has been stuck, I think. So he's just too far away to do anything right now before the defuse comes in, and that's just going to be a free defuse. A great round, and a wonderful retake coming in for the side of the defense, and that's just beautifully played. I love that.
Yeah, very beautifully played, as well as just a little bit of unluckiness there from the attackers. I mean, very well in 10, and it was actually very close. I think the last player was 1 shot with a Hunter's Fury from being taken down. So very close calls, very close margin as to whether or not you win. But this is now the last round of the half, and it's not an ideal buy for the defense, despite taking the win. We're seeing a Spectre come out, a Bulldog as well. The Reyna has a Vandal, no armor. So not ideal, but scrape up what you can and maybe take a pretty aggressive duel. Engram, unfortunately, not getting the same value that they once did, but that's exactly what the defense need to possibly bring this 6-6. Take out one player and play off this advantage, especially now that they have the deterrent of this Viper's Spit down.
Yeah, despite only having a Spectre, I still think that it could find a great deal of value. Slickies doesn't get really tagged by the drone either, so they're not going to know exactly where he is right now. The nerfs coming through so the Viper's Pit makes it a little bit more difficult to play it and to keep it going. Like a lot of times you see players forced off of it by just the sheer amounts of utility. Slicky's he knows his timings, he knows how to do this and manages to keep the pit alive, which will deter the attackers from pushing further onto this A side. With Engram down as well, they no longer have that lockdown. Zest having used that resurrection in like round number 11 will not have that either to get him back up. And I know this is aside from the matter, but this is gonna be my pet peeve for this game that Engram, despite having that ult in like round number 3, did not use it for the entire half. But I digress.
Ooh, Arsonist finding yet another kill to bring it to a 3v5. Exactly, yet again what they need though. Some still only holding a Bulldog, but sometimes the Bulldog is all you need. 10 seconds left on the clock. They are barely gonna get the spike down, but Zest is the last one standing. Finds one, brings it to a 1v2, but it's gonna get caught out. And that is gonna be the end of the first half. And despite the little bit of a janky buy, that is gonna secure a 6-6 after what I kept calling a commanding lead. So maybe a little bit of Caster's curse throughout the half, but I mean, Sloppy are keeping themselves in the game.
Yeah. The thing I'm concerned about right now, though, is going to be that for Sloppy, they don't have they don't have that turret or that alarm bot or like the trademark to really watch flank here. No trips either, so they're constantly at risk of like being caught off guard by a flanker if Totally should get their timing right. They also have to deal with that menace of a Killjoy on defense. Like, I don't know about you, but pushing against the pistol and then pushing against the turret in that pistol round is literally like one of the worst things you can do. I don't know if you agree with me here.
Yeah, no, it's horrid. It's one of my least favorite things to do in Valorant. And I also want to mention that they're going to really struggle when it comes to trying to fend off retakes. They're going to be really, really good at taking site with the double initiator and the Reyna, and even with the Sage on B site. And it looks like that's the site they're going to prefer to hit here pretty early on. But, I mean, even once the spike's down, there is so much utility on the other side that they could easily play for retakes. Meanwhile, they don't have the Sentinel power to actually hold this site. If they take it,
oh my god,
and Lost immediately finds two.
Oh my god, though the Reyna still proving why she's such a menace in that pistol around the overkill coming in clutch as she manages to find two towards CT here. 2v3 though, so it's still gonna be a bit difficult. It is going to be the Reyna getting the spike down, does have that ghost as well as the overkill to work with, instantly get things though. Arson is still there for the backup, gets two of their own, and it's all down to just this last player here, who Reyna is more than ready to take down. Zest unfortunately not quite able to connect that shot, and off the back of that, the pistol will go into the pockets of Team Sloppy, who did a great job, and this is where I think the Reyna really starts to shine. You know, even if you don't have that armor starting out, if you get a kill, 150 on the pistol, you're set to go, and you can mow the rest of it down. That's exactly what happened here with the E-Girl.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who needs to play for retake when you can just go frag out? As well, that is actually going to be... This is the first time that Sloppy has actually been in the lead this map since round number 2, when they were 2-0 up. But now with a little bit of a excess buy in hand, including a Vandal in the hands of Arsonist, the Sova, they're looking to just very quickly take A site, but much like you said before, they are being flanked, and they do not have anything watching that flank, so they might be caught out here, but the assault is firmly going through. Brisk does fall, but the gunpowder is just too much and is overwhelming to them.
Yeah, they only lose one player in the process, so it's going to be one Spectre that's dropped. Not too bad, all things considered. As for the side of Tone Nation, though, they have a lot of work to do. They are behind, but this is their full buy. But this is the interesting thing, because of the fact that two of the players, you know, I think that Arsonist already had a Vandal, and of course Reyna's going to be getting one right now. It's going to make things so much more difficult, because if right in the beginning of the round, Arsonist or E-Girl can get a kill right off the bat, that's going to be a rifle that the rest of the team can pick up. And more than that, it's just going to make the retake so much more harder because of how much space and how much value the Reyna is being able to find so far. They're just literally running it down towards the site they want to go. And it's so far like a charm. So if they can continue doing that, considering how much of space that Tone Nation are giving up for free, it might be the key for them to really win here.
Ooh, and it looks like the defense has pretty much figured out the puzzle that it's just going to be a very aggressive push onto whatever site they attempt to take. So there's going to be a very quick rotation over from the defense. And here we see the Sage Wall and the Viper Wall following suit, both going down on the site. Arsonist finds the kill on the Zest with that early investment Vandal, as well as Eagle and the Reyna finds another. And that immediately puts the attacking side of Sloppy in a really good position. 5v3. Spike's not down yet, but Lost brings it back a little bit more even. But now, the attackers, that lurking Reyna up mid, took so much space, got a kill, and is now basically secured the entirety of A site. So now, Spike's not down yet, but they're going to have to try to retake a site that's not theirs anymore.
Oh no, I feel so bad for Engram there. The close range running gun is just too much for them to contend with. Brody dodges the flash, but can't quite escape the Spectre spray. And just like that, that's going to be the bonus coming in favor of Sloppy, who are really just able to extend their lead here. Phenomenal run coming in, and that was what I was talking about. You know, you don't expect to like peek into those Vandals in this bonus round most of the time, so you might get a little bit cocky. That seems to be what had happened here, because two players, they went out like almost immediately as soon as like they knew that the B was where the site was being hit. And of course, I like that positioning from Reyna there. The fact that she was able to get a kill down by walking in through mid and immediately just falling back, taking that A side for free. That was a beautiful call coming in from them. Right now, though, the economy not quite in a great place for Tone Nation. They do have this Blade Storm to work with, but that's gonna be it. Apart from that, it's just gonna be just pistols, and immediately a beautiful 0 point is gonna shut that ult down as well. So if there ever the time to rush into the A side, it's now.
There we go. Bladestorm is now back online. Peaks 3, but not quite able to secure the kill. And now, with 2 kills yet again from Arsonist and the Reyna, they put themselves into a really good position. Arsonist popping off now, just taking those aggressive angles. Has all the confidence in the world as they swing through one by one. Engram, the last one standing on the flank, only has a Sheriff in hand. Really not in a position to do anything or pick up a rifle to assist them at all, so they're just going to try to cause as much damage as they can. But now that they know where they are, they're just going to get hunted down. And that's now 4 in a row for the attacking side of Sloppy. They have come through, and this is actually, it's 4 for this half. This is now 6 rounds in a row they've won. They are firmly getting a foothold in this game, and they are the first team to hit double digits. They are in a really good position here.
Yeah, this is arguably the last chance that Toad Nation really has to try and turn things back around, because after this, if they lose this, their economy is going to be like in the dumpster again, and they'll have to go in for another recall, which will most likely let the side of Sloppy get to match point. So they have a lot of work to do ahead of them. They also do not have any ults to do this with. On the opposite side, the Arsonist does have that Hunter's Fury, so it's going to come into real useful if he manages to tackle player, if they manage to like get a pick with the ults, or even just for post-plant to make sure that the spike doesn't go down. In the meantime, it is going to be Jazz finding that first pick again. The Jet not quite able to connect the shot. Not exactly what you want to see on your star duelist, but the trade is there from Slickies though, so it's still going to be a 4. Never mind, it's going to be a 5v3. Slickies gets that kill second as well, as it's going to be a Viper diff coming through. The run and gun Vandal, too much to deal with already. It's going to be E-Girl all the way in the spawn, and now Zest in this 1v5 position. It might be just better for this player to try and save their guns, because their economy is really not in a good place.
Yeah, it probably is. Zest is going to find one more kill there, though it's going to take some serious damage. And they know exactly where they are. They're just going to hunt them down. And yeah, it's looking a little bit wrapped up. It just seems like a systematic destruction of Tone Gaming right now. Ever since they switched over to the second half, they're pushing out aggressively, but they're losing duels. And when they sit back aggressively, they're leaving like key sections of the map, like kitchen, open. That's allowing a lurker to get through and remove someone from the backline and weaken a site that allows them just to explode on. It just seems like a systematic ripping apart of a team composition. But with the Seiko buy, it looks like they're just going to try to force the issue. There's 3 sitting over towards mid. Zest does find 1 with the Marshall, but never mind. Trade it out as the res does come through. And now Lost, the last one standing, does find 1 with the Sheriff, but doesn't get the kill in a position where they can recover a Vandal to try to even out the playing field. And so the attack, and the Reyna's already pushed all the way up into A, tucked under rafters. A is theirs. And it's all of them to go and plant. Especially as Arsonist
Yeah.
takes it out the flanker.
Oh, that's a nice shot coming out of the rest of the team. With the Sage is still alive, that's gonna be a really good heal coming through. And I like that you mentioned this. It can't even be called a lurking Reina. If every time you just walk in, it's not like they're like they're like going on the other side of the map. It's just that they're defaulting, and the Reina is just like, oh, let me go a bit further, let me go a bit further, and by like 30 seconds, they're already in the defender spawn. But I digress. Either way, that's a really good round coming out again. That's 6 in a row right now for the side of Sloppy Gaming, and they look ready to close this match out. They also do have that Viper Spit as well as that Hunter Sphere still online if they want to try and do it. And I feel like once that Viper Spit goes down, it's going to be almost impossible for a retake, especially if Engram is dead. However, if Engram is alive, there's still going to be a little bit of hope. I feel like that's why the Hunter Sphere has been kept without being used, apart from the fact that they're killing everyone. But it's going to be that perfect
Yeah.
counter for the lockdown, especially considering that now it takes like 3 of those. It takes the entire ult to successfully break it. You do see Zest trying to go in for a little bit of Sage action, but not quite able to do anything. However, Lost finally coming alive as they managed to find 2 on the round already.
Yeah, that immediately brings them to a pretty good spot. This is actually one of the first rounds in the second half where they've had the man advantage early off the back of Lost here. And seeing, or at least guesstimating, that the push might be coming through the B. The rotation is there as well. There is still one lurker and arsonist sitting up through mid, but that's a 4-man hold on the site. They are going to get the spike down, but this is going to be a really, really sketchy position for them, especially as their main initiator. And information is tied away from them. I say that they do find a kill, bringing it to a 3v3. Make it a 2v3 as they just start mowing them now one by one. Arsonist, rat in the walls, finds it. And now Swayze, the last one standing. Flash has to push away. They don't know where Arsonist is. Well, it doesn't matter. Drast is just able to clean it up. And despite a very close first half, finishing 6-6, it is utter domination in the second, as Tone Gaming aren't able to pick up a single round on the defense.
Yeah, that's a shutdown if I ever saw one. Looking at the scoreboard, it is going to be the Silva on top of the scoreboard. Arsonist with humongous 22 frags to their name. That's basically almost a 2 KDA over the course. And of course, 2 first splits for both the Reina as well as the Silva there. Jas also doing quite well when it comes to assists. 11 assists for them. A lot of healing going on. Very, very well played by the entire team. And of course, Brisk, well, they might be on the bottom of the scoreboard again. They managed to, in that first half, they managed to shut down that Silva drone so many times over the course of the round. So it was just like really, really well played by the entire team. As for the side of Tone Gaming, I just feel like they struggled so much on defense because they either gave up space too easily, like we saw multiple times down on B long, or if they tried to like play B long aggressively with the Viper, they were left empty-handed on A. They also had to constantly deal with like the side of Sloppy pushing across the entire map, and there's just too many holes that they couldn't push through, and the tide comes through and washes them away. But it's not over for them yet, because I believe that we do have a map 2 coming up, which is going to be Fracture. But before we head into it, we're going to be taking a short break, so stay tuned.
What a clutch on one, but they're out. But here comes the nightmare. It's making them very afraid. Spike is now down. Lucky holding that W key. Getting a double kill with the spray down. This man's ready to go, and it's all up to Zell. He sprays it down, but that nade, it's doing some work. He doesn't know where this Reyna could be, but Reyna's giving away her position, and Lucky getting a 4K with one spray and then a clean clutch up. And right now, Truly with this tour de force is going to spot one and only able to get it, but that's going to be a double, and that's a triple. God. That's what we like to see.
Unseen.
Handedly! No!
Bring them back into this game. Now going for it. The ultimate's now pushing in, and all the dumpage. Lemon able to get a just mow down of a spray, getting all these picks today.
Yeah, I mean, and this is exactly the thing that we want to be seeing out of Lemon. He's going for the ace here, and he's going to try to close it out with the overdrive. Ace for Lemon off the back of really beautiful high tempo.
So, let's see what's going to happen moving forward. We do have a Paranoia getting thrown out, and what a spray down. He gets himself 3. He gets himself 4. Checker, you're just better at that, and now defenders get the match point.
Oh, man.
Separate the defense. Oh, no.
And the spray down beat.
It's got to be in Fire's hands. Of course, the Vandal, very powerful, able to get himself 2 picks, and able to get all of them. What a beautiful play.
This could be tragic. Finds 2, 3, 4.
Come on.
And slow things down a little bit, but now Santee in a 1v3, this is going to be very tricky. Able to find one here. He's going for the second one, and he's got it with the classic out. He's going to find the 3rd kill, a 4-piece for Santee, actually able to close it out and put them up.
They're gonna save it for one more. But okay, Legend just gonna go ahead and line him up and shut him down. Killer and LA Luch down in one shot.
Push, but Lulu and Chill, he's able to get 2, and that's gonna be the final shot he hears. Of course, a little bit of a flashbang coming around. Kai jumping on top of bench, making a lot of noise. These attackers are on point, and this is where
Welcome back, everyone. After the short break, we're going to be heading into map number 2 of Sloppy Toppers versus Tone Nation. To recap, Sloppy Toppers is up by 1 map, 13-6 on Icebox, where they put up an absolutely commanding show once the side switched and they were on attack. I believe that the player that we really have to watch out for was their Reyna, who now seems to be switching to the Raze pick instead. And this is a very interesting comp coming in for them. They're going to be going in for that double Sentinel here.
Yeah, and I mean, especially we talked about it before, but Chamber had such a commanding hold on the meta that people kind of forgot that the other Sentinels were, good. So I'm not that surprised. Both Killjoy and Cypher are extremely strong, especially in this current patch. I'm really excited to be seeing the Neon pick as well, because this is Neon's bread and butter map. If you're good at playing Neon on any map besides maybe Haven, this is the place to do it because she gets so much value. As well, paired with both the Fade and Breach, both agents allow her to just move very, very quickly and get a lot of information and play off of that very, very quickly as well as they enter in the site. So I'm really excited about what we're seeing from Sloppy. And as well, I love seeing the Raze. I do think on Fracture, if you're not picking Neon, I think Raze is probably the next best duelist to be going in on.
I agree with you there, especially, in conjunction with that Fade. If you're playing a Fade, you probably want to run a Raze because you can just find so much value. If you know that somebody is there from the Haunts or the Prowlers, or if you hit somebody with the ult there, odds are they're not going to hear the pain shells coming at you. So that's definitely something that you can really capitalize on. But it's going to be a bit of a difficult game for Tone Nation. I don't know how they are on Fracture, but they're just coming up to I think they lost 9 rounds. No, wait, 7 rounds in a row. Sorry, I can't do that. But yeah, they just lost 7 rounds in a row, and they've had a very, very rough attacking half there. They did fairly well on defense. So if they can put up a decent lead here while playing on defense, that might be what they need to try and keep the momentum going. Fracture, I would say, is a map that's kind of attacker sided in the fact that there is a lot of areas that you can really try to pinch in the defense from, but also the sheer agent comps that both of the teams are running, they just have so much utility available that retakes are definitely viable in this particular map. It just comes down to team coordination, in my opinion, and that's going to be pretty important. Yes. Already you do see towards A main that it's going to be the Fade and the Raze looking to get a little bit aggressive. Let's see how it goes for them.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be a very, very heavy B hit. And, all 5 leaning over towards Arcade, though. Actually, B is pretty much open besides Cypher Utility. The two defenders on site are technically off site. They are going to get smoked off and they're going to make their way through. And site's going to be pretty much theirs for the taking. They're just going to clear out the Cypher Utility, including the camera, I believe. And that's going to get spiked down really early, not even hitting, I think, 30 seconds into the round. And now, Tone Gaming actually have pretty much full utility to go and play for retake, but they don't quite have the information as to where any of the attackers are.
Yeah, the bot is going to be clearing outside though, and now it's going to be a pincer maneuver coming in as they try to make their way onto side. The trades are good though. It's all down to just a breach here, stuck inside tower, unfortunately. Does manage to get a little bit of a shot, but has to reload at the worst time possible, and that's going to be an excellent retake coming in. Again, like if you notice how the Cypher had it set up, he had it for a retake. That's why they were playing offside. The tripwires, the camera, everything was just immaculately there for them to be able to go in for it, and they were willing to give that side up because they knew that in that 5v5 retake they do have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to information and utility, and they were able to like completely capitalize on it. A great pistol coming in from them, and that might set the tone for the entire game if they play their cards right, but it's just a start. They are going to be able to buy up with these specters. They have the economy for it, and despite getting the plant, we're not going to be seeing a force coming out, a fact that I attribute to the recent price increase in stingers that makes the pistol rounds, the anti-eco rounds so much more untenable right now, considering you can't buy heavy armor and stingers every round anymore. But again, that's going to be a concussion right off the bat to try and deter the push. Lost will spot out, I think, the shoulder blade of a player, and off the back of that, it's going to be the Paincho C's combo. Not finding value though, it does do a little bit of chip damage.
Ooh. Slicky's finding the kill from drop, but not able to find the second on the Zest. That's also going to spot the spike. Going to fall down on the opposite side of the map. They either have to wrap around or try to fight through this chokehold that they're currently in. And right now, it seems like they're just going to hold out for a moment. Two of them, of the three, are going to be pretty much at half health so far. They do have the disadvantage, only one having more than a classic and a ghost in hand. Arsonist is going to pick up a Spectre, though, so try to level out a little bit more, but there's not much they can really do in this position, especially as there's not much utility they have left in the tank after the craziness of what just occurred in A main.
It is going to be Swayze on the beach trying to hold out his particular angle, gets the first kill, gets the second as well with the help of that Spectre, and now it's all down to just Dras in a 1v4, not quite able to connect the shot, and that is going to be second round converting for the side of Team Sloppy here. Not looking too sloppy, I would say myself, only losing one Spectre in the process. The full buy though is going to be kicking in for Tone Nation here. For Sloppy Toppers. For Toad Nations, yeah. It's going to be kicking in for Toad Nation here. They have a lot of work to do, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to go.
Yeah, no, it definitely is looking very good for Tone. They are a pretty commanding lead right now. Zest actually 6-0-0 in a really good spot. They're one away from their ultimate as well. So they're in a pretty good position to possibly flip this, but with only Spectres in hand, it's going to be a little bit difficult to try to deal with the range of the rifles.
Oh my god.
Makes it even more difficult when your Neon can just run it into the enemy and mow them down one by one. So the two on satellite are easily dealt with. Now Swayze, trying to bring something, is able to pick up the rifle to try to bring it back a little bit more fair for their team. But now a 4v3 could be very difficult, especially with the Killjoy still on hand. They do plant it for long, which is quite good for them, except for the fact that the defense is actually favoring a push through. Brisk can't get caught out here, but luckily Dras, their teammate, is able to cover for them, finds that kill, brings it to a 2v4, and now what looked to be a possibly winnable round is looking to be more and more out of their reach, especially as Neon picks up a third for the round. And there we go.
Yeah.
Dras is able to secure it, but that is a pretty good round. 3 left standing, and they should be able to full buy out rifles yet again, but this is going to be the first full buy round, and honestly, after that, I think it's a pretty even. I don't think we really have a... there's no very clear favor as to who's going to come out on top this round.
Yeah, both teams are going to be having their full buy online. You just see a couple of ultimates. The one that I have my eye on is that Nightfall from Zest, which can prove to be really pesky when it comes to retakes. But yeah, aside from that, I do think a lot of the players are pretty close to it. One kill or maybe a couple of orbs, that might be what they need to work out. And again, this 3-person stack towards this A side might prove to be really good because they're going to be playing 2 towards drop. Early info from that Prowler to clear out. Know that there's going to be no one towards dish there. On the opposite side, though, it is going to be the Neon leading the charge here for the rest of the team, just opening up side for free, and knows the possibility that there are going to be multiple players towards drop, so they're going to be trying to hold this angle as they make their way onto side. Smokes will come down, but again, it's going to be a full 5-on-5 retake. The fade outs connecting. Still, though, it is going to be the Neon able to get 2 kills of their own towards drop, dashing away, staying alive, and this retake is looking almost impossible right now, considering how much damage has been done already to the player advantage here.
Yeah, no, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu. Maybe not to the same extent as Chrome, but right now, Egro really coming out on top and really forcing their team into a winning position here that should pretty much secure them their second round for this map, as the other two just very slowly limp away and try to save their rifles. But that puts them in a pretty good position. The economy is firmly on their side now, with I think only one really being in an iffy situation. But after the money comes through, especially after the spike plant, they should be in a really good spot. Meanwhile, Tone, a little struggle bus town right now, as it looks like the 2 saved rifles are going to be the only real guns they have on hand. Someone's going to be carrying a shorty into the fight, and the sheriff, Max. So not really ideal for them. But at the end of the day, I'm afraid to say it's going to be commanding lead, because I was saying that in the whole last game, and then, you know, Sloppy completely turned it around and dominated and won like 9 or 7 in a row. So it's looking really good for Sloppy right now, especially with all the advantages, and this Neon just absolutely causing havoc, taking sight before, you know, they can even get to a minute left on the timer. It's becoming very problematic for them to deal with, especially as they can catch out lurkers like poor Lost here, who just has nowhere to go.
Yeah, takes the zip line and books it out of there. They don't want anything to do with E-Girl. Possibly with them having their Neon ults online as well. A full 5-on-5 retake right now. Only like it's gonna be an eco round like you mentioned, so not much weapon-wise to work with. Though they still do have those 2 Vandals that they saved. That might be the saving grace for them right now, and so much acidity to deal with as well. Already you can see the Killjoy Nanoswarm is ready to go on the spike here. However, with Killjoy going down, it's gonna be very difficult. They get half the defuse here. Pentagram barely staying alive. Not much HP left to work with. These last 2 players should have it covered. The spike tries to get stuck, but unfortunately it's not going to be happening. It's going to be happening as Stickies with 1, 2, and 3 will be able to clean up the round, holding onto the weapon as well. So that's W for them for sure. But you know, on the bright side for the side of Tone Nation, they managed to get the orbital strike out of the way. That's a really annoying ult that you really don't want to face on the post plan, and that's going to be that. No ults remaining for them, but hey, at least they got one out of the way for their optics.
Yeah, absolutely. And when speaking about ults, gotta mention that the overdrive is now online over on the side of Sloppy, as well as the rolling thunder on the side of Sloppy as well. So if they are starting to run into literally any resistance on site whatsoever, which they really haven't had to deal with, to be fair, you know, just being able to run on site has been the theme of the last couple rounds. But even if they do hit, they have all the tools in their tool belt to deal with such an aggressive push. I say that as Zest does immediately remove E-Girl from the round, so Slickies is able to find the trade out. And this push up to drop has been almost entirely stalled out. And there we go. The Rolling Thunder is going to be invested. That's going to push pretty much the entirety of the defense and spawn back a little bit, force them out of position. And while Slickies is going to get concussed, it's not going to do anything to delay the spike going down. Time is now on the defense as they slowly try to wrap around and cut off all exits. I say that as Arsonist immediately finds the kill on the Engram. Swayze pops through, finds the kill.
2 players left right now as they try to make this retake work out. However, it does seem like the Brim hasn't gone checked here, so Jas is holding a very pivotal position towards his A main area. It seems like Zest is aware of the possibility, gets the headshot as well. The clock is still ticking on. There's a lot of kills to find before the time goes down. Arsena swings at the perfect time, able to get not 1 but 2 for their troubles. And just like that, it's going to be 4-2 right now for the side of Sloppy Nation. They really should change their name to Unsloppy Nation after this game or something even cooler. Again, that's going to push the side of Toad Nation into a huge economic deficit. I see a Bucky on Lost, but aside from that, it's just going to be Sheriffs, maybe a Stinger on Brody. Not much to work with economically. And in the meantime, they just keep extending their lead and their bank balance further and further. Sloppy Nation are doing a fantastic job right now. And again, just the fact that on attack, they're able to just run unstopped onto sites. They're just able to get the spike down and have fun at their own pace. It is a phenomenal action plan coming out for them.
Oh, some huge aggression. It's like a train right now as one team enters through B main, the other one leaves through arcade, and E-Girl just running at them with the overdrive finds 4 somehow, and now Lost is lost themselves as a Stinger is the only thing they have on hand, not really in a position to go pick up anything better. Spike goes down, and now stuck here in arcade. They know exactly where to expect them. They're just gonna run them down. Well, that was a quick round.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I feel bad for the Cypher, man. Poor guy was just trying to hit a shot and he just gets like sprayed down from the Neon from heaven. A really, really beautiful round coming out of Neon there. And again, this is flashbacks to just flashbacks to Chrome right now. Tone not quite able to do much to stop that onslaught coming in. And again, Tone Nation, they do have tools to work with in this particular full buy. Both the Rolling Thunder as well as the Nightfall available alongside that Showstopper. Perhaps like a combo of these might be what they need. Again, they need to stop giving the side of Sloppy the Cypher free, because once that spike goes down, their post-map positions, it's almost impossible to retake. In the pistol round, maybe you could manage it, but when there are guns online, it's so much more difficult. It is going to be Sloppy leading the charge yet again. Lost tucked into this corner here, might be able to find crucial kills, and off the back of the flash, does manage to get 2 of their own. Throws the paint chills as well, pushing the players off the angle and making the trade impossible, and still holds down the fort.
Yeah, Spike is down as well, making this much more difficult for them, especially as there's still a defender there holding that angle. And there we go, the Rolling Thunder is invested. They're both concussed, and Lost is able to just swing through, find the last 2. Clinical as always, one 4K responded by another 4K from the other team. I mean, that's the best way to get back into it, though. Both teams now are actually doing quite well in the economy game, so it's quite even overall, though whoever wins this is probably going to set themselves up to have a pretty good end of this half, but it's coming down to the wire here. It's looking more and more like we may or may not have another 6-6.
Yeah, especially if Lost manages to pick up the pace like they did over the course of the last round. It might be what they need. This time, though, it's going to be the early aggression responded in part by the utility from the breach there. However, though, the neon flashes and the counter flashes are immaculate. Off the back of that flash, it is going to be Eagle finding first blood, finding a duelist difference there. But Zest will be there for the trade right now. Has that haunt available, tries to push it down the bridge, just comes through and clears the corners. That's going to be a free kill. Advantage towards the attackers right now. It's going to come down to Swayze being able to find this timing here towards CT. There's an alarm bot as well that they have to deal with, which is going to be a pesky annoyance, giving away some crucial information that there's going to be a player pushing the smoke right now. Slickies as well, just holding this angle where the possibility that there's going to be a player coming down the ropes any second right now. This retake again is looking very, very difficult for the side of the defense. These last 8 players have a lot of work to do in the short time. And Graham starting things off, finding the first of the turret is proving to be a menace, taking him down to 34 HP. And these last 3 players, it does seem like they're going to be coming back around Dras through the door, able to find a kill. But this Brim and this Killjoy, again, these are the 2 agents you always want to have on the post plan. Swayze tries to go in for the defuse, does manage to stake half, but it's going to be a swing from Brisk off the back of that Killjoy, able to get that to 1v2 clutch. And again, it's going to be Sloppy taking a lead, extending their lead rather.
Yeah, I mean, very, very risky there. The Killjoy lockdown, very well used, especially as Brisk was not really in a good position. That was planted for long for a main. So not a great position to be in. I don't know how I feel about Dras leaving that very defensible position in A main. But, you know, at the end of the day, a round's a round, and that's at least secures them 6 and brings us half to at least a neutral 6-6 at a worst. But now it looks like we're going to be getting yet another B hit. Very aggressive B hit, nonetheless. And there's actually not a lot of defensive presence here, much like the first round, where there's just 2 players sitting back towards their spawn. Meanwhile, one team that just pushes through, and Eagle's actually going to get mowed down through the smoke after tripping up one of those tripwires. Cypher getting the value. Arsonist sitting patiently waiting for Zest. Meanwhile, over on site, it's just a duel back and forth, and Arsonist stops the lurkers, able to turn around and now start helping their team. Brings us to a 4v4. And there we go. Very aggressive push and a judge kill from Lost. Picks up the rifle, puts that into a very winnable situation. 1-for-1 trade, 3v2. Neural Theft is invested as well.
Oh no.
And Slickies is just not able to do it. Once more, Brisk needs to do it all.
Oh.
And it's not enough.
Came down to the wire there. 2 seconds left, and Brisk almost had that to perfection. But unfortunately, in that 1v2 discipline, the fact that they knew that they had to have to defuse, they were just willing to wait it out. To go for the double peek until it became untenable in Brisk. They had no choice but to peek there to make sure that the spike wasn't being stuck all the way, because, you know, pros don't fake is like the most common motto coming in these days when it comes to defusing the spike. And I've seen too many games where things go wrong because you don't bother checking in the confidence that it's going to be the case. Either way, though, both teams are still going to be able to buy out a couple of ultimates online for either side. And Neural Theft in particular coming in clutch, I think, last round, letting the players know exactly where they are. And like you mentioned here, I think that we are looking at a possibility of a 6-6 half if things go around this way. You do see this presence towards this B main area again. It is going to be Eagle pushing up, breaking the camera, giving away a little bit of information as they're going to be pushing through the cage. This time walking on the side because they really don't want to risk touching any of those tripwires. I respect that. I respect that. And they have sight for free. But again, this retake, it's going to be a 5v5.
Yeah, those tripwires are a mistake you make once and you never want to make again. Though that being said, who needs the tripwires? Lost immediately finds the kill with the paint shells, though E-Girl, sitting in the corner like a rat, finds 1 kill, sliding around the map, does find another after a slide. Engram finally finds a trade, makes it a 3v3, but the Cypher on the defensive side is so weak. Scraps of health left. Orbital Strike invested as well. Slickies is in a really good spot to catch them off. And there we go, another Orbital Strike invested. That gets Engram off the spike, forces this into a 3v2.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, but that's so clinical from the 2 of them. Brody finds Steve Swayze, finds another, but unfortunately, there's just no time. They're not going to get the round, but they'll save the rifles, and they're going to do a little bit of a hit to the economy of the attackers. But that officially brings it to at least a 7-5 half.
Yeah, I like that discipline coming in for them. The rest of the team, they're on side fighting, but Brim and Killjoy, they just go off. They're like, yeah, you know what? You trigger your Nano Swarms, and then I'll trigger my Brimwells, and then I have a lineup for the plan, so don't worry about it. They just can't stick the defuse. And, you know, I really don't like playing against players like these, but it's always fun to watch because, you know, you always want to go for that kill, try to trade your teammates, especially if it's like a really close situation. But, you know, if you know that they can buy enough time, you have the confidence in them to do exactly that, you can pull off these kind of plays, and that's just phenomenal coming in. Oh my god.
No.
The judge does not work out very well against the Neon L2. Despite being only 30 HP, it is going to be Eagle getting 2 kills and completely demolishing Tone here. 2 players left right now as Brisk is there for the trade. And these last 2 players, they're just trying to do some spraying damage. Get 2 kills for themselves, in fact. So this retake suddenly looks a little bit much better.
Really glad you were play-by-play for that section because I have no idea what just happened on my screen. Chaos on the site does open it up, brings it to a 3v2, and almost like a diamond formation here of attackers who are now holding the site, one in every angle. Brody and their companion trying to do what they can. Arsonist laying down some cover fire, taking a distraction. will find one, make it two.
my
Who
God.
cares if they only have 3 health left? That's still above 0. They find more kills, and that brings it to the end of the half, finishing 8-4 in favor of Sloppy. And now I'm actually a little bit concerned, because while they do have a KJ on hand and they do have a Brim, which is both very nice, they have a Neon, they have a Fade, they have a Breach, which are very, very attacking agents, not always the best on defensive. So while they were very, very clinical on attack, I'm a little bit worried as to how efficient they're going to be on this defensive half.
I mean, when it comes to Fracture, the best strat on defense is to attack. You can quote me on this, by the way.
True.
It's my opinion
It's
on
true.
it, because when you have 4 lanes to push, you get some early information and you figure out which lane your opponents are coming at you at, and then you just try to take that space so that, you know, if they rotate, you will be able to take them down, or if you have a flank, that's gonna be the case. And already you can see that drafts of all people, the Brimstone is gonna be pushing up towards the side of the map. I think that it's gonna be a convergence onto the opposite side of the attacker spawn, and they're gonna clear out all those areas. So they know that right now they're gonna be still stuck towards this side of the map. The Killjoy utility and the Hunt again giving away a lot of information, doing a lot of damage. Lost loses not just his armor, but also half of his health off the back of that. Will still get the right click though onto the Killjoy. That's gonna be a phenomenal kill right now coming in for them. Has the paint shells as well. Will be able to keep themselves alive a little bit longer as the retake tries to come through. But it's gonna be Slicky's finding 2 before finally being shut down. 3v2 right now. Lost playing in the smoke right next to another player, isn't aware of the possibility, I think. Never mind. It's looking really difficult right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Playing Overwatch, Brody falls, lost, the last one standing. Only 22 health left, but
no.
the defuse comes through, and despite getting 4, not able to do enough to pause the defuse, excuse me, nor able to get that final kill for the ace. And that is going to be yet another round going to Sloppy. And that puts him in a pretty prime position to take him to 10 rounds after the Santiago. You know, looks like we're going to get a very aggressive Bucky play from the Neon, which I can't wait to see. It's already been crazy enough. Why not throw a little bit more chaos in there? But after this round, as long as everything goes to plan, as, you know, normal Valorant usually plays out, knock on wood, you should see double digits here for the first time. But it looks like it's not going to plan. Immediately, Brody finds that kill on the E-Girl with the right click from the Classic. The Bucky now finding its intended target.
Oh my
Never
God.
mind, it found its intended target. Zest picks up the Bucky and uses it themselves.
Oh my God.
Shorty finds another. What's happening?
Shotgun go boom. That's what it seems like. And yeah, off the back of those clips, it's just going to be the Killjoy left alone right now in a 1v3 situation. However, though, 2 of these players are going to be kind of low, and Brisk is extremely healthy, has most of their util, and also has that Spectre to work with. So it might be what they need right now. If they can get these kills onto Swayze as well. So if they can get a kill onto Swayze, the other 2 players are easy pickings considering how low they are. However, nobody's going to be peeking. They're going to make Brisk come to them because, you know, I think that in that close range, that right click can prove to be absolutely devastating. I believe that Brisk does hear the sound coming out from up there. Gets the first kill. It's the second as well, and now it's all done. Just the last player doesn't know the position though, as Brody did not peek at all the entire time after the spike went down. So it's gonna be the Thrifty converting, and that was exactly how Valorant is supposed to go, I think, because that's the beauty of the game, right? It's so unexpected. You expect, like, yeah, this team has more money. This team, like, you know, they have better positions. They won the previous round. They're gonna have better weapons, and then somebody with the Bucky just comes and blows it apart. Or, you know, it's like one of those anti-eco runs where your teammate buys a Vandal, instantly goes in and dies, and then the enemy, like, clutches it. Yeah, that's how that felt. Ouch.
Chaos, as always. But that is yet another 1-1 split after 2 rounds. So not quite typical here, but we are seeing some Vandals get pulled out. Not full buyout here, as Brody still has that Spectre that they used in the last round. And it looks like they try to make their way onto B, but they are just going to run into a wall of utility and are possibly going to reassess their situation, seeing as that is a 5-man heavy lean onto B, making it quite difficult to even possibly attempt to make their way through. But it doesn't seem like they're deterred all that much. They're still sitting and possibly just waiting for a possible rotation to come through.
Hunt being invested for some information and being broken immediately is going to give some information that Tone Gaming is in fact towards the side of the map still, showing some presence. The counter Hunt comes through to try and take some tower angle here. It's going to be Dras though, just holding it passively, not quite peeking out. Might be able to find the timing if they're lucky, but will be spotted out by Engram. No one other than no one. A quick flick from Swayze will be able to save their teammate. Igor though still alive, still kicking, able to get one kill. So that's gonna be that, and it's going to be the round. It's going to be the comeback, in fact, for the side of Toad here. They have a showstopper online as well to try and get them into site next round or just do a lot of damage to their opponents. This round is going to be very pivotal though, because both teams are going to be on an even footing when it comes to weapons. A little bit of more of an economy for the side of Toad here, but aside from that, it's still looking pretty even overall, I would say.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Sloppy looked really good in those in that first round, but Tone coming back strong, immediately finding the two following. If they can find a way of converting this, it could be a very, or at least a much better half here for Tone and bring it back easily 9-9. But it all starts with one round. They need to win this one. It looks like they're going to be favoring almost a mini push up through A, down drop. They are going to hear Arsonist. Not quite sure who it is, but doesn't matter to them. They're just going to invest the showstopper. And they will fire it off. Won't find anything, so not quite getting the value they want out of it. But they at least know there's one in a main. But Egro really not able to push through. Is going to get collapsed in on. Has to retreat through sands. It's going to get thrown utility at. Forced to fall back with their teammates. And now Spike slowly making its way through. But one by one they get mowed down. Arsonist and Egro find one, a pair. Zest is on site with Spike. But there we go. Rolling Thunder is going to prevent that. Stun up two that are on site and allow them to push through. Dras finds one, but Engram over in main getting so much value finds two, but now the last one standing in A main position, just getting util thrown at them, playing Overwatch at the moment. Does have the rifle advantage, catches one off guard, but isn't aware of the one behind him. And that is Sloppy ending up securing their second round for the half and securing the first team to hit double digits here.
Yeah, that was. I feel like the moment that Tone Gaming lost a round was when they took so long to get the spike down, even though they exploded onto the side literally with that showstopper in like the first 15 seconds of the round. It took so long. The smokes went away. The team their opponents got in position for the retake, and that was the moment that they lost, even if it was still a 5v5. But heading to the next round, they still are going to be able to buy up a little bit of a very broken buy though. They have to try and make this round work, otherwise things are going to look almost impossible for them going forward. You do see light shields across the board here for both sides, so at least that's something in their favor. Brody does have that Brim ultimate as well. That might be what they need to try and deter a plant here. However, though, it's going to be Slicky starting things off with a beautiful shot onto Lost, a wallbang in fact, and just like that, again, it's going to be Tone at a bit of a disadvantage. No matter how much they try, they're just not in a good spot, as it's going to be, again, the Neon finding two on the round already. Tries to go in for the third, but Zest is finally going to be able to trade out. Does have that Nightfall available, will invest to try and somehow make this round work, but both the players are going to be caught by that season, and again, that's going to buy so much time.
Here we go. There's 3 defenders left standing. Only 2 attackers here. Spike is down on site, and at this point, it's going to be a very, very difficult attempt to try to get through this Spike, especially with Killjoy set up in their spawn, so no real way to sneak around. Got eyes on them everywhere they go. Both are going to get spotted, but it's just clinical as Arsonist and Dras share the kills a pair and just remove them from the lobby. That is going to bring them to round 11. And like you mentioned, the economy is really not great. They're going to have to exist off of sheriffs, maybe a stinger at best. Meanwhile, it's going to be pretty much a full buy coming out from Sloppy here. And this, I'm not going to say it because Caster's Curse has been real tonight. And every time I say something, it goes the exact opposite. So it's not looking great for Tone. They need to secure this round despite the vast differential in money spent in the pre-round.
Yeah, they have some ultimates to work with, but so do their opponents. I mainly have my eye on the overdrive again online for
Yeah.
E-Girl here. That's gonna be a menace. Last time they popped it, they got a 4K. So this time around, I want to see if they can improve on it. I know the only thing you can do better is get an ace, but it's still a possibility. Already right off the bat, it's going to be Swayze caught in the turn, taken down while trying to break it as Brisk gets that perfect swing off the back of that. They still want to try and commit towards this B side though, as they try to push forward. Drafts holding this off angle. So many players just watching right now, and I think the player that went down was the Breach, so there's going to be no more concussions or anything available. Lost stuck in a horrible corner, getting wall banged into oblivion here. Just a sliver of HP left as they finally managed to fall back just in time before the aftershock takes them down. It's going to be the Fatals invested as well by the defenders for some information as to how many players are going to be hanging out here. The A side is completely empty with the exception of the Neon and the Molly from Draz. Oh no, shuts down. Poor Lost there. Only 20 HP left. Took half a second before they burned to death, cooked to a crisp. Arson is taking out Zest as well. It's all down to these last two players. It's a beautiful shot from Engram though. Will take them down. Has one other round. Will have to ace to close it out and prevent the side of Sloppy from getting to match point. And it's looking really difficult. Gets the first, but not quite able to get the second. It does do a little bit of damage to Brisk through the other player, but that's going to be that match point and series point right now for Team Sloppy here. And they look like they're very, very comfortable.
Yeah, no, Sloppy have just kind of been in control. They did lose a few rounds. They lost it a little bit. Got sloppy, you could even say. But at the end, they are able to, bring it back, have a pretty solid half so far. And this is pretty much the last chance. Tone have no room for error. They need to be pretty much perfect. Because even if they win a round here, they are still in a position where if they lose too many people, they're not going to have the economy to buy out next round. They're all buying out to pretty much as maxed out as they could. So even if they lose two, that's two less rifles they're going to be able to bring into next round. And at that point, you're just going to start hemorrhaging money and you won't be able to crawl back. So perfection is what is needed. And it looks like they're going to err to the side of B yet again. And they're going to be rather smart here and take tower pretty efficiently, but they're going to run into the KJ setup. But they're just going to run in, catch the KJ off guard, and they're going to find 2 kills to open up proceedings, but that orbital strike's going to push them off the plant site. Arsonist pulling one back, though.
Zest is good for the trade though, taking out the smoker here. That's gonna be huge. 2 players left right now. Make that a 2v2. Just like that, Arsonist and Eagle pull it back right now. It's gonna come down to just Arsonist though. We saw them pop off in the previous map. He knows the position of one player, gets a headshot. Talk about overkill, and now they know where the last player is. Does have the orbital strike available. Is going to be investing it in this particular round, but still, Arsonist manages to get the reposition and the reload. Tries to get the kill and does get the headshot. That's gonna be the clutch coming in. And remember, that was a 4v2. And these guys still managed to pull off a successful retake here. A beautiful game and series coming out of Team Sloppy here. Kudos to them. They're gonna be your winners for this particular match. And in the dominating fashion too. I think that there was the same score for both the games, right, Sora?
Yeah, a little bit less dominant this time, seeing as there were rounds won in the second half by the losing side, but still it comes out on top as the exact same round count. Again, the Neon being the most influential player at the end, 19, 17, 8, not the 30 bomb in 15 rounds, but pretty close. Yeah, no, pretty much dominant from Sloppy. They had a really slow start, pulling 6-6 out of a little bit of a rough half over on Icebox, but then immediately dominate. They won 7 in a row. Then in 2 previous as well, counted out to 9 rounds without a loss over on Icebox. Come over here, and while not immediately dominant, it just overall just had a really, really solid game.
Yeah, those are some really great points. And of course, Lost did show up for his team this game. They did a lot of work for First Blood as well as like being the MVP for the team. Zest as well, I think, was a player to watch out for on Tone. But I just feel like overall, it was kind of like a team difference. I feel like the Cypher in particular did not find as much value as Brisk did on the Killjoy on the defensive side. You saw how many rounds Engram just could not hold against the tide that was the attackers. They came onto side, and once they got into post plant positions, it was just very, very difficult for the side of Tone to retake here. But the same could not be said for Brisk. Like so many rounds, you saw players getting kills off of swinging off of the killjoy turret or just doing sheer damage with that molly ability there. So I think that's definitely a sensible diff when it comes to the Super 3 game. But aside from that, I just not really expect being consistently by the side of Tone. They weren't able to trade out really quickly. They just had like really bad post plant positioning, especially in the second half, and that was like the last round was a testament to it. The fact that despite it being a 4v2, they were playing in such awkward, non-tradable angles, not holding those crossfires. It just made things super difficult for them, and that's that. I think that at the end of the day, it's just gonna be that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well points made. And actually, it looks like we are going to be getting an interview here with Slickies from Sloppy here.
Woo!
Really excited. They should be here in just a few moments, but you know, they had a really good game. Can't wait to hear what they say. Hello, Slickies. How are you?
Talk of the devil.
Well, I'm doing good. How about yourselves?
Doing great. Even better after a pretty convincing win here. How you guys feeling after that?
I mean, we felt good. We were just joking around, having fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, it looked like it for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to talk about Icebox a little bit. I almost what happened, but in a positive way, because you guys had a pretty solid first half. You guys finished at 6-6. What happened in the second half where you guys just did something like just like click in your guys' head? Did you guys change something very subtle that maybe we didn't see? Because you guys just went from being a good team to absolutely dominant, like almost out of nowhere.
On the T side, I would say like our only mistakes was like we weren't adapting to their lurks and stuff, and we were just getting picked off from Killjoy flanking behind us or something like that. But then on the attacking side, where we weren't getting flanked at all, we were just going in there hard. It was just easier for us to take control.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, has sorry, I'm struggling with my words. It's really really dominated performance. I want to talk about e-girl a little bit because absolutely huge performance here in the second. This is the second game in a row here that we had a neon that is just absolutely popped off. Did you guys have like a certain strategy, or was it just like go kill like we had in the first game? Because it seemed like there was some rounds where it was just release the neon and they just I remember the overdrive round where they jumped off
Oh my
of
god.
jumped
Tower.
off of tower and immediately got a 4K.
Yeah, so I mean, it was my little brother playing the Neon, and I was
Oh my
playing the
god.
Breach,
Oh,
so we were able to synchronize a lot with our plays, and it just worked really. It flowed really well with the map, just because we were able to take control of like a certain choke super fast, and they were kind of playing like a retake style on B, I think, and it was
Hmm.
just really easy for us to just take control super fast early in the round, and we were able to set up.
All right. So I have some questions as well. But this is just a personal question. So you were playing like Viper on map number one, if I'm not wrong, and then you switched over to the Breach on Fracture. So how does it feel to like switch between agents like that? Is it like super difficult for you guys? Because a lot of your players, except for of course your little brother, like you guys are like really flexible with your agents, and I know that for different maps, of course, you have different agents. But switching from like a controller, to this initiator role, is it like really challenging for you, or what challenges do you face?
Um, Mostly for Viper on Icebox. I normally play Sage on Icebox, but of course, like only I could play the Viper this time around. But swapping around isn't like that bad, just because our playstyle is pretty similar. We try to take aggro duels. Besides, like the Breach having the flash and all the other stuff that initiators have, we still taking fights, so it's still comfortable.
All right, and it definitely showed over the course of these two maps. But heading into this particular series, did you guys expect to do this well, or did you have like higher expectations, lower expectations?
I mean, we went 0-2, and then like the first two games were like Radiant teams, so it was a little bit difficult. So we kind of expected like similar strength teams that are like kind of in our caliber, like Immortals.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, a huge W, and I hope this motivates you for the upcoming weeks because we have a lot of games coming up and really good job today. Congratulations again, guys. You deserve
Sure,
it.
thank you. Thank you for the interview.
Of course.
Have a good
All
one,
right.
guys.
Have a nice
You as
day.
well. All right, and I do think that just about wraps up everything we have for you here tonight for IGL Divisions. If you've been watching since the beginning, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys checking it out. Of course, we're gonna have division games for the next couple weeks, so come back, check it out. And of course, for any and all updates for anything IGL, go check out our socials. We have Twitter. We also have our Discord and the website where you can find every announcement we put out. So go check it out, see when we're live, and come back and come watch some even better, amazing Valorant and all the other esports that we also put on as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, my name is Soren. Joining me was Dak. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You